Yep.
Hey, Tom, you know what the news is? Tesla is now the most valuable car company in the world. You know why that is?
Why is that?
Well, we're in our brand new Model Y Performance, and this is why. Oh my God! That's 16. Oh, all right. Maybe that's not why Tesla is the most valuable car company in the world, but that is certainly a lot of fun. You want to share the news with them?
Yeah, I just read on Bloomberg today that Tesla now has a market cap of about 207 billion, which is higher than Toyota's market cap of 201 billion.
Which, when you think about it, absolutely sounds crazy because what, Toyota built something like 2.3 million cars in the first quarter?
Yeah, I think it's 2.4 million, and Tesla was 103,000.
Yeah, so 100,000 versus 2 million. Tesla has, what, 2.5 factories in the world. I say half because the one in Berlin isn't finished. And Toyota has dozens of factories, and yet Tesla's more valuable. And the question we're going to answer in this video, at least partially, I think, is why that is. So let's talk about this car in particular. We bought this car yesterday. We picked it up at the Tesla dealership, and the first thing that we noticed about this car was that it was built, get this, 5 days ago. It was built 5 days ago in California. It was delivered to us here in Colorado and signed over to us in less than a week. Now, we were also in the process of trying to buy a new Land Rover Defender. And the Defender is out there in the dealerships, but a lot of the dealerships are asking over sticker for the vehicle. And we'll get to that later. But the more interesting part is we wanted a very specific configuration, just like we wanted with this car. So I called up our friends at Land Rover and I said, this is the vehicle that we want. And they said, great, we'll build it for you. You'll be able to pick it up at the end of October, Tommy. So that's 4 months, not 4 days from now. Now, I know they build Defenders in the UK and it has to come across the ocean. But the difference between being able to build and deliver a car in 4 days or 5 days and 4 months is phenomenal. I mean, talk about market disruption. I don't know of any other traditional car company where you could actually go and do that.
Well, we should clarify though, Dad. We ordered this car about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And what happened was we ordered it, and then we got a text saying, would you like it by the end of June? And we said yes. And then we didn't hear anything for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then you had to call them, and they said, well, the configuration you ordered is not currently available, but we do have one that's the same color, the same interior, but with more options. Would you like that for $2,000 less? You can pick it up in just a couple of days. So we said absolutely. So we got this Model Y Performance for less than the one we ordered, with more options in the same color and the same interior. And we should clarify, so we were at the Tesla Delivery Center yesterday on June 30th, and I was walking around looking at some of the shiny new cars. A lot of the Ys on the lot, and they probably had 15 of them, had little build date stickers on them, and they were built as recently as 6/26. So in 4 days, Tesla had taken a bucket of bolts and turned it into an entire car, then put it on a truck, shipped it to Denver, Colorado, and got it ready for delivery for an excited new owner in 4 days, which is just unbelievable.
Yeah, the logistics of that are just staggering, Tommy. And, you know, I'm not trying to pick on Land Rover, and I'm certainly not a Tesla fanboy, but think about what that means for Ford, right? Because Ford is building a competitor to this, the Mach-E. And that car was introduced, oh my gosh, how long ago was it? 3 years ago, 4 years ago now?
The Mach-E?
Yeah.
No, that was in LA this last year.
No, not unveiled, introduced.
Teased, you mean?
Yeah, introduced when they said they were going to build it. That was at the Detroit Auto Show when they actually said they were going to build the Mach-E. And I think that was now maybe 4 or even 5 years ago. So it's been 5 years since the world knew that there was going to be an electric Mustang, give or take, right?
Yep.
Then they unveiled it at the LA Auto Show. And now Ford is saying that if you want to order it, you can go online, and if you're lucky, you might be able to get delivery by the end of the year. In a competitive marketplace where you've got two cars that pretty much directly compete, one you could buy immediately or take delivery of it 4 days after it's built, or the other one you could put your money down and then you could wait till the end of the year and then hope to get it. And the difference in that is the difference between sales success and not.
And the crazy thing too is, this Model Y is the performance model, 0 to 60 to claim 3.5 seconds.
Yes.
And this is going to go head to head with the Mach-E GT. which is set to come out sometime next year.
Yep.
Most likely the middle of next year, summer.
Yep.
That's also going to be 0 to 60 in the mid-3s, according to Ford, with about 250 miles of range. So it's going to have less range in this car. It's going to be out over a year after this vehicle has been on the market. Who knows what it'll cost? And then we come to the dealer markups. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, you know, the two most popular cars out right now are the Defender and the Corvette. And if you look at news reports, or if you do a little bit of digging, just go to Auto Trader. We've done that for the Defender. You'll find that a lot of these hot cars now have a dealer markup of anywhere from a couple thousand to tens of thousands, right?
Right.
Whereas Tesla, because they don't have dealers, you go on their website, you order the car, and you're going to pay the exact same amount that the person next to you picking the car up will. And that will be the case whether you buy it here in Colorado or in New York or in Florida or in California. And in fact, what happened to us was from the time that we ordered it to the time that we picked it up, the price went down $2,000. And so I don't think it's hard to imagine somebody sitting, let's say, at a local dealership trying to negotiate in a very stressful manner for the hottest car that's out there and just saying, you know what, screw this, getting on their phone and paying one price that everybody pays for a Tesla that's faster and, let's face it, a much less complicated and much less painful way of taking delivery, because we should talk about that, how it worked yesterday.
So basically, we traded our old Model X in on this vehicle, and when we place the order for the Model X, you go on the website, or sorry, when we place the order for the Model Y, we wanted to trade in the X.
Yep.
We went onto their website and we clicked the little trade-in button.
Yep.
It asked, what are you trading in? We plugged in the details on the Model X. They give you one price, and that was it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The salesman didn't have to take it for a test drive. They didn't have to...
there was no secret conversation between the sales manager and the salesman looking at you
No.
in kind of a furtive manner, making sure that you haven't stuck out of the dealership. Basically, they said, this is what we're going to pay you for it. And by the way, in case you're curious, we paid $87,000 for the Model X, and Tesla gave us a year later $69,000. So we took a pretty big hit, but this car was $64,000. So by buying this car, we actually got a check back from Tesla for $4,000. Now you may be saying to yourself, you took a pretty big loss on the car over a period of a year, but keep in mind, we're not the typical owner, right?
But let's go back to the process, Dad. So we got the offer for the trade-in,
Yep.
and then we were told that our delivery time appointment was 5:30 yesterday.
Yes.
We showed up at about 5, and then when we showed up, they didn't like go over the Model X with a fine-tooth comb to make sure it was in perfect condition. The lady who helped us, who's brilliant, her name is Gloria, she took one peek at the car, she said, yep, that's fine. And then half an hour later, we were down the road in a new Model Y. You sign some papers, there's no haggling, there's nothing crazy. You just show up, they clean the car for you, they give you your key, they ask you if you have any questions, and then off you go down the road.
Yeah, there's none of that, stress-inducing, gut-busting, traditional car dealership. Now, we buy cars from dealers as well. We use Johnson's Auto Plaza, and those guys are great, right? The experience there is wonderful. I want to make sure that people understand that this is not all dealers. But I think that's more the exception than the rule.
Yeah, we've had some pretty horrible experiences at other dealers.
We have had some really horrible experiences, and specifically, trading in the Raptor at one point. That was about as painful as it gets, where they didn't want to give us our check, even though we had turned over the title to the Raptor because they owed us more money. So, is that why Tesla is valuable and is surpassing, the legacy companies? And maybe I shouldn't be saying legacy, but let's call them the traditional car companies. Yeah, that's part of the process. In a lot of ways, I feel like the dealer gets in the way of the buying process instead of enabling it. And I don't mean to be picking just on the dealer in this. It's also about supply chain. It's about being able to manufacture a car and get it to the customer in a timely manner. But a lot of people will point at Tesla and they'll say, look at the build quality, which arguably isn't up to maybe the standard of Mercedes or Toyota. And they'll say, look at the fact that the company isn't making a profit, which they're actually trying to do this quarter. They'll point to Trump. They'll point to Elon's tweets. That was a Freudian mistake, I think. And they'll point to the fact that the car company has only got 2.5 factories. And they'll say, how is it possible that this company is worth more than Toyota? And I think the reason is because they're working really hard. They're really out there trying to change the model of not just the way the cars are powered, right? We're not even talking about electricity versus internal combustion engine. We're talking about the entire car buying, car ownership, car owning experience. And from nut to bolt, they've completely changed that around. And I got to say, they've changed it around for the better, in my mind. And I can see why the stock market is valuing the company and what it's valuing it for, because I think Tesla is pointing to the future. I think once you go and buy a Tesla and you have over-the-air updates and you don't have that very stressful purchase experience and you don't feel like somebody else is getting a better price than you are. I mean, it's a lot like an Apple store. And I know a lot of you are out there saying, yeah, well, you know, Apple's got its own issues, but it is very similar to that. But once you go through that experience, it's very hard to then go back to your typical dealer, you know, and the what can I do to get you in the car attitude. That's just not something that, you know, is doable anymore. So yeah, maybe the stock market has it right. What do you think, Tommy?
Well, I think you're also missing that the car is pretty brilliant. So for example, in this Model Y, it's incredibly quick, realistically in the real world, much faster than just about any car on the road. Yeah, it's got amazing technology, you know, full navigation here with traffic awareness, and it also has the ability to find and navigate to any supercharger. It also has the best electric telematics of any new car available. It's got incredible amounts of just weird tech, like the fact that you can adjust the airflow on the screen here. It's got 5 heated seats. The interior is unlike anything else, and then that's even before you get to things like the autopilot assisted driving systems.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's also the fact that there's nothing coming out the tailpipe. Now, I think there's this long argument whether, you know, we're just moving that pollution downstream, but the fact remains, if you power this car from renewable resources, be that hydroelectric, be that solar, you're not burning any oil, and oil is such a useful thing that we shouldn't be burning it in cars. We should be using it to make plastics and other things. So I feel really good driving this around, knowing that in Colorado at least, the energy source is wind, and I'm not throwing anything out the tailpipe.
Yeah. So let us know in the comment section below, what do you think of these new Teslas, and let us know
if the company should be worth more than Toyota.
Yeah, because even though they certainly don't have the volume, they are definitely pushing the cutting edge in technology.
All right, once again, this has just been another behind the scenes video. We'll have a full review, Tommy, tomorrow on TFL Car between the differences of the Y and the X. So if you're curious about why we traded from a bigger, more expensive car to a less expensive, smaller car, be sure to check out TFLcar.com's YouTube channel or just TFLcar.com. See you guys next time. Ciao.